need to hear the sound, Flint.
Plasma products found at keshfoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation with protective plasma formula. CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshfoundation.org/store or find a distributor near you. Tax and shipping not included.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute 31st Public Testimonial Meeting for Monday, June 10th, 2019. Apologize for the late start here. We did have a little bit of broadcast technical difficulties, but we're live and running now. And we have Rick Raymond here, myself, Flint Mulhausen, and Danny Moe as our host today. Welcome, Rick and Danny.
Hi, Flint, and hello to everybody in our broadcast land of planet Earth. Is Danny there too? Hello.
Yes.
Not yet. I don't think she'll be joining us in a little while.
Okay, I thought she was already in here. Okay, very good. So how do we wish to start here today? Do you have anything lined up in particular, Flint? I know you've been rather busy with some other things, but
Hopefully in a little bit here. See, Marius is here, and you said he had something last time. Do you have any update from your presentation last time, Marius?
Hello, everybody. I'm not sure what was it about. I know Mr. Adrian Folteanu has shown some medical devices, but I'm sorry, I don't remember what have shown. I have a few things I'm working on. There is a medical device for myself with rotating fields only. There are the magnetic discs, and there is actually a plasma battery formed with 4 stackers. So I wanted to create the battery in a circular way. I think I can show you some pictures. It's not finished yet. I need to create the gases for it, but I have the coils already nano-coated, and they look very, very good so far.
yeah, it'd be great to see a picture.
Yeah, just a few seconds to look for the pictures.
Okay, in the meantime, maybe we can get set up for the next one. Is there anybody else in their attendees or panelists that have something they would like to present after we hear from Marius?
I think Joseph might have something. Hello, Joseph. You there? Do you have any problems with your mic there? See, you're unmuted.
Now it should work.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, what I could show is the levitating CO2 GANs, but it's just a nice effect, and we should not. I made this experiment for to give the CO2 GANs the information of magnesium, but in this way it is not good. There is other ways. So give me just 1 or 2 minutes to prepare the photos and the video, and then I can show it if nobody else has something.
Okay, that sounds good. And also Dan. You there, Dan? Or Adrian? Either of you guys got any updates from the Romanian team?
Good morning. No, good morning. Good day. Good night. I'm here, but in this moment I don't have anything in particular.
Okay. Thank you. Adrian?
Good morning. În acest moment, Marius, am nevoie de un pic de ajutor.
Sigur,
Marius,
da, sunt aici.
deci, această lună am avea ce să arătăm, dar testele pe noul tip de dispozitiv pe care noi l-am conceput pe Clouds.
This month we would have something to show, but we are still need to do some tests on the device that is similar to Klaus' device.
Nu sunt încă gata aceste testimoniale. Sunt ceva rezultate cu acest tip de dispozitiv.
There are a few first testimonials done with this device, but there need more tests to be done.
Și așteptăm deocamdată de la medicul care se ocupă de acest dispozitiv completarea testimonialelor și poate luna viitoare avem ce să arătăm ceva nou și noi.
Yeah, so we are waiting for the people who are testing the device to give us the full specs of information, all the information.
Și așteptăm.
So the next month we will have something to show.
Dispozitivul are ceva de noutate în el, este vorba de partea de conversie plasmatică folosită.
This device has something new into it. It's about the system of conversion in plasma. Puteți să repetați un pic, domnul Adrian?
Da, deci dispozitivul are ceva de noutate în el legat de convertorul plasmatic folosit.
Și este din ce? Din curent electric în curent plasmatic, nu?
Da.
So this new idea is about converting the electric current into plasmatic current. So it's a converter that's implemented into this device.
Și preferăm să așteptăm până luna viitoare ca să avem și un blueprint făcut și testimoniale concrete cu acest dispozitiv.
Yeah, so we are waiting until next month, the next month, when we will have more concludent results and solid testimonial to show.
Este foarte important să așteptăm pentru că trebuie.
Domnul Andrian, vă întrerupeți.
Ale române.
Is it my connection or is it Adrian's connection?
Connection of Adrian.
Marius, it's my connection. My connection is not. Deci, Marius, te sun și le spui după ce spun pe telefon.
Ok.
The connection of Adrian is not very good, and it's communicating from to the Marius from saying what.
Yeah, on the mobile phone. Yes, please bear with us. Just
yeah. No problem. And we also have okay, there he is. He looks like he's back again on another connection.
Deci, Marius, preferăm să așteptăm până luna viitoare să avem testimoniale la medicii care se ocupă de dispozitiv.
Yes, so we will be waiting until this next month when we will have more results that we will show from the colleagues that are testing this device.
Și între timp sper din suflet să fie și ei primiți în corpul medical al asociației.
And meanwhile, I hope from all my soul that they will be accepted into the medical private group of the Cash Foundation.
Și dacă există o echipă a Cash Foundation care se ocupă de dispozitive, sper să ne primească și pe noi, adică pe mine și echipa mea.
And if there is any team that is handling or testing the devices and they are doing this part, they are responsible of these devices, he hopes that Mr. Adrian and his team will be accepted in this team as well.
Mulțumesc frumos tuturor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yes, thank you, Marius, for translating there.
Yeah, no problem. Meanwhile, I have found some pictures that I can show you about plasma battery I have thought about, and it's strange that I had the idea in the morning, and in the afternoon I have seen some of the previous teachings of Mr. Kesh, and he was mentioning about something that I was thinking about, and basically the idea came in the same day but different times and on different paths. So may I share the screen?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Just a second. It says here to, okay, I will override. Right, I will, I think this is the one. Can you see this?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Yeah, so this is a sketch. At first I thought on 3 stackers. So this plasma battery is a regular plasma battery, but I wanted to put it into series. The blue lines are the central wire, and the red ones are the coil, right? My idea was to make batteries circular, not linear. So for me, the idea was to make 3 stackers, have the batteries as Magrav stackers, but with single coil, so to say, and in the middle to put a ball with GaNs. Not sure yet if to be dry GaNs or maybe a paste or something, but the idea was to have the GaNs ball there, that to provide extra plasma power into the coils. But the same, how to say, the same construction. Anyway, you have the central wire, you have the papers with GaNs on them that are rolled onto this central wire, and on top there comes the aluminum foil, and on top there is this nano-coated copper coil. Then let me show you something, some more pictures. I have seen Mr. Kesh's video. I think it's extracted from Knowledge Seekers Workshop number 68, if I am not mistaken. And there, Mr. Kesh says that you can have 4 batteries, and you can form 2 pairs that are each of them connected in parallel, and then you connect these 2 pairs into series. So you can have both current and voltage. The idea went even further after a discussion with Angelo, and the idea is like this. I have the central wire. On top, I have the papers with GaNs, and on top I have a zinc coil. It will be nano-coated zinc coil. In fact, already is, because I have it already nano-coated. On top, another paper with gas, and then another layer of aluminium that will not be nano-coated, and on top will be this nano-coated copper. So from the first drawing, I have moved from 3 stackers to 4 stackers that are exactly as Mr. Kess said, 2 of them connected in parallel, like you see this one. And these 2 pairs will be connected into series. These are some pictures during the construction in, let's say, the basic form of the copper. This is the main construction without the gas ball, but these are all the connection as I thought. Of course, the this part of the copper wire will be twisted towards itself, but I need it to be like a pin to have the possibility to reach inside this small connectors, so to say. This is the box. I don't want to promote any company, but this is from I think protein shakes or something like this. I don't know what to say, and I don't want to promote any company, but this is a perfect box, and I wanted to create the system that matches perfectly inside this box. And it's pretty, how to say, it doesn't occupy so much space. It's very fine. A few more pictures during the construction. These are, how to say, you have this cases for 10 CDs or 10 DVDs, and I have taken the base of it, the black part of it, and cut it and use it for creating this base for the battery. For me, I like using bases for, you know, when you put plants into different jars, you have like a small plate to collect the water if it is too much in the jar of the plant. But for me, it's not rigid enough, and it bends very, very easily, and I don't want that to happen with my nanomaterials. I want to have something rigid, but not so thick at the same time. So I find this to be very, very good, very suitable for this type of construction. Yes, little more pictures during this construction. Yes, but the idea is to create this setup, and it fits perfectly into the case. A few stackers, so-called stackers. They are not Magrav stackers. Again, they are just batteries, but they will be circular. I have cut a vertical plastic bar to create the support for them, and they will be glued here or something. I'm not sure. Maybe I will use resin to fix them up and to create a solid construction. And yeah, basically that's about it with this experiment so far. And I had the idea. I don't like regular aluminum foil because it's not very rigid, and I have found this band that's how to say, you can
Double tapping.
Sorry?
Double tapping is from construction, from
Yes.
Isolate the ex-house from heaters.
Yes, it's like tape. Yes, and I find it more rigid. It doesn't wrap, or I find it very good, and it's aluminum, so it's fine. And I thought on the sticky part of it to put gas powder, because it will be sticky and it will not move anywhere. And I want to take advantage of that. And yeah, this is about it so far with this construction. I will put again my, I think this is the most important part, because you can see here the connections. Yes, and now I have the nano-coated coils, both copper and zinc, and the copper, at least, it looks very fluffy. It has stayed for quite a while at the steam of caustic, and I think it's for at least 4 months in there. And the only ingredient I think I need for this to be completed is the Titan GANs. I haven't done any Titan GANs before, and I don't even have the raw materials to do it. So this is something I am still looking for and still working on. And
Sorry, what kind of gas did you say?
Titan dioxide.
Titanium.
Titanium, yes, sorry.
Okay, titanium.
It sounds differently in Romanian, so.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And I have a question. Does titanium gas can be replaced with something else in order to obtain current? Not voltage, but current.
What function does the titanium do in the battery, do you think?
I think in combination with the other gases creates the, how to say, the greater difference, similar to alkaline versus acidic, and that difference creates a difference that can be collected onto the, well, at the plasmatic level, but the pressure can be collected onto the surface of the aluminum foil as a current. It's just my belief. I'm not very sure.
Okay, well, titanium oxide is available in various places. It is, in a way, a fairly common thing that's used in various food products and in for paint and such things. So powder is available fairly economically as far as the actual matter level titanium oxide products. But perhaps somebody has another way to obtain such things. Is there any suggestions? Has anyone experimented with that? I know they use it for, I think, for solar cells as well. In fact, I believe you can get the titanium oxide from the sugar powder they put on donuts, strangely enough. Is to make the powder look white, and they use titanium, I think it's titanium dioxide, titanium oxide, one or the other, as the whitening agent. And you can actually get that from the powder. There's a process to remove it from the powder to get the titanium oxide and make it into a solar panel. There's instructions on the internet how to do that. That seems kind of extreme, and there must be more, there must be easier ways to obtain the titanium to make your own GANs of it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, because I tried with composite gas and I added a bit of sugar, a bit of caustic, but while titanium was missing from this mix of gases in my batteries, I only obtained voltage. But without any current, you can light up any LED or something very, very small. And I believe this is one of the keys. I have heard people who used brass. But
Okay, well, for example, if you go to Amazon, they have titanium dioxide, cosmetic grade for soap making, crafts, paints, and pigment colorant. They have what is it? A small bag, basically, 4-ounce bag, 4 ounces, quarter of a pound, basically, of titanium dioxide for $12 Canadian. So that'd be less than $10 US, or about $10, 10 euros basically, will buy you a fairly large bag that would probably do you for pretty much a lifetime of experiments, I would think. If you need that, if indeed that's the stuff that's required, is a titanium dioxide is what it is. It's about the same price as zinc oxide, which is also available. I was wondering, maybe zinc oxide, you know, a pure zinc, not the CO2, but a pure zinc GANs might substitute for the titanium dioxide as well.
maybe a variant. I haven't tried it. Of course, and I'm not 100% sure that I really need titanium dioxide, but I have seen in Alex Beat's videos in the first teachings of Mr. Cash and Knowledge Seekers Workshop, and I know Angelo used the titanium dioxide when building the first Magrav unit, and the first one that had really good results.
Right. Well, it could be part of the secret sauce, as they say, that makes the Magrav work correctly. And I know it was experimented with many years ago when the first batteries were coming out, and solid plasma batteries. So it's something to think about. Does anyone else have any input as to availability of this titanium dioxide, and what are there any ways of obtaining it that anyone has come up with?
Yes.
You can find it in creams for sun blocking.
Ah, that's right. I remember that now. That's right. That's what part of what they mean by cosmetic grade here. It would be used as the a sun blocker and as a protectant for the skin too, because it actually is able to do that. It's able to. How's it go? It.
You can always find it in drug shops.
In what shops? Pardon me?
Yes, they have it in a real pure quality.
In what shops? What kind of shops?
I think it's drug shops in English.
Drug stores, like.
Yeah, drug stores. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good idea. They probably have it in the cosmetics section or something. Go ahead.
Like iron oxide, like zinc oxide. Zinc oxide is white. From iron oxide, it's a pigment. It's brown, red, and other color, yellow, and I know it's also titanium oxide. In where it's I don't know where is the pigment from the paint, from lavable painting. and this stuff.
Yeah, it's also found in toothpaste, and they're actually trying to remove it now from some of these things, because there is some concern that it may have cancerous effects and so on, possibly carcinogenic if you inhale it. It says there's inadequate evidence in humans of cancer, but sufficient evidence of risk in animals, strangely enough. As far as so there's probably they suspect it and they don't want to call it carcinogenic, probably, but it's possibly carcinogenic, at least in inhalation. So don't inhale is the bottom line with titanium dioxide. Otherwise, it's relatively safe and considered inert and safe, generally speaking, to handle it. Any other input on titanium dioxide?
GANs off. Titanium dioxide.
GANs of.
Yes.
Is that correct? You need to make the GANs of titanium dioxide.
Yes.
Okay.
So not in physical form, just the GANs of it.
Okay, I thought it had to be in the physical form. Okay, so would you take titanium dioxide and make GANs from that then? Is that what you're saying? Or would you find a different way?
Yes, that was the idea. I'm not sure if I can afford buying plates like metal, but maybe if I mix the powder of titanium dioxide with caustic, maybe I can create GANs from that. I don't know. Just an idea.
I see titanium plates on Amazon, and they start at about $12 or something like that. About 10 euros, 10 bucks basically will get you a 10 centimeter plate, half a millimeter thick, for about 10 bucks. Titanium plate, that is. So that's not too bad. One plate like that would be more than adequate for your experiments with titanium.
Of course, and it's affordable. Thank you very much, Rick.
But
I thought it'd be more. Sorry, go ahead.
It's not below to I don't know, copper and iron, and for obtain the field of titanium inside your box for create these GANs of titanium. It's below from iron, copper, zinc. You can't utilize I don't know, something like carbon or another thing for obtain the difference between two materials for create this field of titanium.
Yeah, quite possibly. I don't know if how did Alex do it originally? How was it shown by Mr. Kesh and in the original blueprint teaching?
And 69.
Yeah, what form of titanium was used there? I thought it was a paste of titanium dioxide or something.
It's the paste, not the GANs. It's oxide of titanium.
Right, it wasn't GANs,
Right.
It was actually paste, wasn't it?
Because Mr. Kesh explained when you transfer from the GANs from the nano to the matter, It's utilized for first Mr. Keshe saying about aluminium, and try when you see when you make the spaceship, the star formation. When you try, I don't know in what system, it's copper, aluminium, and zinc. Mr. Keshe in certain manner saying replace with titanium.
Replace what with titanium?
Aluminium.
Okay. But then isn't the aluminium still wrapped around the titanium paste to keep it all together, or what do you put around it?
The middle layer, because it's in the ground, it's copper. I don't remember very well, but I know Mr. Keshe explained why it's titanium. What is the gradient with when Alex creates zinc and copper and another material for obtain this flow, this how to say, flowing.
Flow,
of,
yeah.
field.
Yeah. Gradient. Yeah, okay. Well, any other input on that anyone can help to clarify today?
Of course, I need to see those teachings again. It doesn't hurt seeing over and over again. Most of the times when you see video material from Mr. Keshe again, you learn better, you understand better.
Yes, definitely. Well, we could probably use some clarification on that if someone can research it a bit and let us know what they find from the original teachings about the, I think it was titanium paste, and maybe we could even look at the some of the original blueprint teachings or the PDF from it to see the way the layers went and so on with that process.
It's the first day in afternoon, in the morning. Alex present the bees. And,
in the morning. When do you mean? Is there a date you mean, or?
Yes, it's 2 days of presentation. You have to, Marius, you can check because it's already posted also from me in the Facebook. This piece with gift of Alex from humanity. When present the car and Alex bead, how he's making, and in the morning it's presenting first day. It's, I don't know, 15.
Can you put the link to that in your chat here, Dan? Link to your Facebook post on that?
Yes, just a moment for searching. In the meantime, perhaps somebody has something to say.
Yeah, thank you. We have Lawrence has his hand up. Maybe you can shed some light on this. Go ahead, Lawrence.
Hello, good evening. This is Lawrence speaking from Hungary. I've been thinking in the same lines, just using the simple Magrav unit. And I think we've been trying to coerce it to create electric current, whereas if you take a look or listen to the 276 Knowledge Seekers workshop around 1 hour and 40 mark, Mr. Keshe explains we should focus the energies inside, so that the plasmatic energy happens in the center of the device. And if you think just about the simplest tool that we've learned to use, the pain pen, which is basically a nano-coated copper wire with a little curl at the back and a little dip of GaNs at the top, at the spearhead. We're creating plasmatic flows with the pain pen, just as it is. So why don't we simply put the outer ends of the wires that we use to connect to the outlet, the electricity kit, why don't we point them inwards into the center of the Magrav? And regarding the layering, Mr. Cash explained some teachings ago that we have this doubling circuit with the plasmatic fields of the Kochen, then the sodium, then the silica, and then the iron, and around the iron we have the copper and the zinc. So basically with the basic 3 ganses that we've used to make the CO2, the copper oxide and the zinc oxide, maybe if we want to go very fancy, we could put in the guns of silica, I mean like sand, what we use to make glass. With the layering of
or
these,
quartz is also
yes,
similar. Quartz crystal, for example. Go ahead.
So with the layering, with the proper layering, this doubling layering, as we've been taught, of the basic ganses, we can already create the proper gradients. If we take this mass ratio thing and the ratio of the ganses, like when we create the GANS paste, we can already create a plasmatic gradient. We don't need to go with any materials, like in my opinion. So we already have the ingredients to create a directionalized flow by using the understanding of the pain pen. And with the Magrav coils, if we don't want to get energy out, but we put the energy in to the center of the coils, and then we focus on those beings, those souls that are created in the space gaps, where the coil unit, if you take a look at it, it's like a line. It has a beginning and an end. And with each turn of the coil, we have a doubling circuit. With each spacing of the windings, we have that thing that in the Chinese reactor is the 160 bores around that are going round and round. So within each of the windings of each Magrav coil, there is already a plasma energy ball, depending on the space gap of the winding. So those are the outer cores of the reactor. And then we can, when we don't want to take things out, when we don't attach a leech, a material leech to it, we can then interact with the emotional, the soul part of the Magrav unit. So take a look at the 276th Knowledge Seekers Workshop a few weeks ago, about 1 hour and 40 minutes into the teaching, and it's already been explained thousands of times. We've taken the longer route, the material route, trying to interact with these devices. So,
can you please repeat 146 workshop?
76, 276, and 1 hour and 40 minutes.
That was 276, right? Not
Yes.
176. Okay. And 1 hour.
276 and 1 hour and 40 minutes into the show.
Okay, if someone could post the link for that, that would be handy in our chat here.
Yeah, I'll do that.
With the timestamp on it.
Found it.
You know how to get the timestamp from the YouTube video?
I think I have to navigate on until I reach the 1 hour and 40 minutes.
Yes, and then you can just right click and copy video URL at current time.
Oh, yeah, found it.
It'll copy the code correctly for the timestamp.
Yeah.
Oh, you already have it down there. said before I can finish my statement. It's done before I can finish my statement, rather.
It's instant communication.
That's right. It's the words that come out slow. The communications are fine.
Yep, works perfectly thanks to the plasma.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to post those links and the links from Dan also in the live stream.
And I think I remember because I have heard Mr. Kish discussing about that. I was there live, and he mentioned about the spherical Magrav and the easier way to do it in the manufacturing. That's the cylindrical way, but it's not the universal or the universe's way to do it, because cylinders do not exist in the universe, right, in nature. So I want to ask if anybody has tried to build at home some kind of spherical Magrav units.
That cylinders don't exist in nature. Interesting idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what Mr. Kish said.
What about a tree trunk? Isn't that kind of a cylinder?
Yes, but it's more than that. A tree trunk, usually you see trunks when somebody cuts the tree, maybe.
Yes, but each tree has a cylinder that raises it up by levitation from the Earth's surface. Many tons of weight get raised above the Earth's surface in the trunk of a tree. So in a way, it's a levitation device.
I think you're right, and the rings of the tree can be the coils, right? The stacker.
Yes, yes.
I would say the trunk of the tree is the stem of the torus in the center.
Yeah, it's like that because the fields of the tree actually go around like a torus or like a, the fields of a magnetic, bar magnet sort of thing, roughly. But what other examples? You don't see cylinders, floating around in space. For example, cylinder-shaped galaxies. Don't see too many cylinder-shaped galaxies, at least not defined cylinders. But we do see sort of round-shaped planets and suns. But we also see spiral-shaped galaxies and other forms in the universe. So you're thinking of a spherical, you mean like with copper wires to form a spherical shape? Or are you thinking of some other method for that sphere?
I think you can create a plastic sphere with stackers, the supports to be plastic as well, but maybe the central, so if you have 3 stackers, for example, the one in the middle has the larger diameter and the smaller ones have the smaller diameter. And if you want to create a more perfect sphere, you, I think, need more stackers. So if you want to have 5 stackers, you can put like the North Pole and the South Pole stackers to be very small in diameter, then to increase, and then to have the equator, the larger stacker, to create this kind of sphere. Or maybe just with the shape of the fields to create a sphere, if not physical construction.
Please don't forget the Magrav shape, like Mr. Keshe showed it to us. It's already perfect. The secret component is you, because you are a Magrav system. and you may interact with the Magrav. And if you achieve the giving part, then you will achieve more savings.
Yes, indeed.
I think when we were talking about the spherical configuration, we were just talking about the Magrav coils, just one layer of the Magrav unit, and the two coils turned 90 degrees to each other. So one is flat and the other is standing upside. And like this, you have a so-called sphere.
Yeah, good point. And it directs the fields differently when those coils are oriented at 90 degrees to each other compared to being in parallel, let's say.
I would even go further. You know, there are different energies when different water lines cross underground. You know, that's where people build temples up on top. And there are different kind of energies depending on the angle of the angles of the crossing. So
the angle of the crossing, exactly. Yes.
It doesn't have to be 90 degrees. It can be some other degree too. So you will have a different kind of quality emanating from that vortex that's created by the crossing of those two energies. But let's not complicate things. I think
that's something that Mario has talked about for hours at a time, basically, where these energy lines cross, and that's the crossing points being so important. That's where the matter manifests, or that's where effects can be seen. It's where the light occurs and so on. So yeah, I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, the point I wanted to make is that we can do it with the Magrav units ourselves, or with the fields that we create with the units. And I think to make it more easier to understand, if we consider one layer of the Magrav units, we have two coils, and each of the coils is magnetic and gravitational. So we basically have four forces that are interacting with each other in one layer of the Magrav unit. And since we're playing with the imaginary configuration of these forces, and now we've been considering that we can turn them 90 degrees, why don't we just think that we have a star tetrahedron, the starship configuration, as the basic unit when we consider one layer of the Magrav? So 3 at the bottom and 1 at the top, because it's always these two fields, the magnetic and the gravitational, which are both magnetic gravitational and gravitational magnetic. So we basically have 4 forces. And those 4
are actually even 6 with the central wire down the in the Magrav. So we have, the central core wire, and then we have the coil around that, and then another coil around that. So in a way, it would be 6 forces, or 3 of the magnetical, 3 gravitational, and because each one, even though the core was originally gravitational, it would still have its magnetical component pushing the opposite direction, basically, to the force going in one direction. So every force has its opposite as well. So there's a lot of interaction with the 3 layers right there in that bottom, or 3 interactions. What can I say? 3 matter level. It's not even matter level. 3 components, I guess you might say, between the central core wire, the coil around that, and the coil around that one. So I guess there's different ways of looking at it, depending how you look at it plasmatically, and looking at it mechanically or physically, and so on.
The physical level should reflect the plasmatic level to have the best effects. And the point of the bottom layer, the gravitational layer, is to feed the magnetical at the top, and through the feedback of the magnetical back to the gravitational, create the fifth core in the center, which is basically already existing. We're just, as far as I understand, with the starship configuration, we are allowing the fields to open up. So basically, we have that fifth energy, that centering energy already in the center, but we're opening it up to be able to access it by using this gravitational at the bottom and magnetic at the top configuration. And this is why I was suggesting to use the Magrav unit to point its energies inward instead of trying to coerce it to create electric energy, material level energy, which is only a byproduct.
Right, you mentioned that before. So how does that look to you in terms of what would the actual physical connection be with that? Normally, we would plug the Magrav into the wall plug-in or whatever to get power to it. Now you're saying to take the plug and plug it back into the unit itself, into its internal wires. So how would we do that? There's a common and a hot wire are the two main wires. There's a ground too, sometimes can be used, but the main ones we're interested in is the hot wire and the common wire. How would they be hooked up, do you think? Do you want to do a whiteboard thing on that, or is there something you could say about it?
Well, first I want to point you to the pain pen. The pain pen is a plasmatic device without any hookup to the electricity grid. It creates a plasmatic interaction with energy and balances it. So if we have nano-coated copper wire, which is GaNs coated, then that GaNs itself is the power source. And through the nano-coated copper wire, the directionalized end of the nano-coated copper, just like we have with the pain pen, we can point the energies to go in some direction. And if we forget about this whole electricity thing and point the ends of the Magrav unit into the center of the Magrav unit, or to the next level of the Magrav stacker layer, then we already create a plasmatic current by means of interaction of the same with the same. And the GaNs themselves will feed. The only point we need to do is connect the top, the magnetical outflow, the northern pole, back to the southern pole to create that feedback loop, that self-feeding loop. And then if we want to give energy to it, just connect with it on the emotional level or the soul level, whatever we want to call it. So I think we should just interact with the fields of the Magrav unit without wanting to get electricity out of it, because in the end, it's supposed to be an oasis unit. And if we are off grid, then there's no electricity. So we just have the unit itself to provide us with shelter, with water, with no need for food because we're not hungry, because we're fed off the energy, with stuff like this. So consider there's no electricity. We still have the Magrav unit. We still have
yes, but back to my question, do we actually hook up the leads, that plug? Do we connect it somehow with a nano-coated wire into the wiring of the internal wiring of the Magrav unit? Do we connect to the top coil, for example, somehow, or what do you think how that should go? Or do you literally mean we just point the plug-in toward the middle of the unit?
Yes,
literally.
I mean literally pointing the ends in side. Of course,
Okay.
there is a one side, a southern side where energies come in, and there's a northern side where energies go out. So there's two wires, just like we have this hot wire and the other wire that we use to plug into the wall. But if we don't plug into the wall at all, but connect these wires, just like, you know, the energy flows in a DC current from the positive to the negative, as far as I know. Isn't that true? If we go from the electricity circuit,
We'd have to get into a big discussion about that, but
okay,
because it's the electromotive force that flows, not the actual electrons necessarily. So it gets into what's positive, what's negative, and how did they originally get called positive and negative, and why do we use those customs now when they're completely reversed to the way they're supposed to be, and all of that, which could be a good half-hour discussion, but it's interesting, but maybe beyond our testimonial group here right now. But
I
we
agree.
get the idea.
I'm
still confused about it, and I've been working with it for 50 years or more, and I still don't know where the positive post of a battery and negative post, whether the flow goes one way or the other, because it depends on who you listen to and whether you're talking about quantum or physics or chemistry or electrical or electronics or other realms that are involved, and they each have their ways of describing the process. So plasmatically, that's totally another thing altogether.
Yes.
So it's usually the opposite of the conventions.
Let's stick with the plasmatic thing because we're here in the cache group. So
yeah, we're trying to. Yeah.
We have the Magrav unit. Basis of it is nano-coated copper. That's what the first level of scaffolding is. And then we use different kind of ganses. The ganses all are also both magnetic and gravitational, but have different plasmatic field strengths. We say that the heavier ones are those with the higher numbers, and the lighter ones, the more magnetical, are with the lower numbers, like hydrogen and deuterium and stuff like this. And when we coat the Magrav coils, depending on what kind of ganses we use for coating and what kind of layering of those ganses we applied and the ratio of those ganses, depends if that coil is considered gravitational or magnetic in the stacker unit. Is that correct? And
well, that makes some sense, I suppose, depending on which layer that you're speaking of, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yes. And we also have magnetic coils on the outside and gravitational coils on the inside, if we only consider one layer of the Magrav unit. So the point is to create a gradient from the magnetical to the gravitational, pointing to the inside of the Magrav unit. And using the ends of those wires that we have received, connect them in a way that the flow flows inwards. Up until now, we wanted to get electricity out. We were so focused that it's an electricity generating unit that we wanted to get stuff out. And like this, we've created different versions of the Magrav blueprints where the windings are considered like this and like that. But Mr. Cash, take a look at the 276th verse, explains we should focus the energies into the inside, from the gravitational, the south pole, to the magnetical, the north pole. And then from the north pole, focus them back so that we create a feedback loop so that the device feeds itself. That's it. Using only the nano-coated copper and the three basic ganses and the ratios of how much we use from these different ganses for coating the Magrav coils. And then we have the UOasis unit. We basically don't need anything else and fancy, just the right configuration and right flow right usage of the right plasmatic gradient to do what we've been talking about for many years.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. It's a good point. Okay, perhaps we should move along here to different topic. Or is there any questions or comments about what we just discussed here? Okay, well, we have Mark has brought up about the peace treaty, where to get it and sign it as an active testimonial of the work of all. And the link was posted there. I'll put that also into the live stream. Mark, maybe you would like to comment about how you see that.
The microphone doesn't always work properly.
Well, we hear you there. It's a bit distant, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say it's just something you don't have to sign in the matter state per se, but it's between you and your soul. And if you don't know about your soul, this will help you discover it as you read it and you ponder it. Now, I've made some copies and I'm just handing them out when I find somebody and I ask them, are you for world peace? I say, here's an alternative. Read it, study it. It's between you and your soul. If you'd like to post it, that's fine too, or make copies and pass it on. And so with each one, I'm just sending some plasma intentions with it and it will do its work after I let it go to them.
Ah, I see. Okay, great. So you just print it out on a piece of paper, like an 8.5 by 11 sort of thing, the peace treaty, and give it out to people?
Yeah, people that I'm not just actively, but you in passing or whatever, you say, hey, are you for world peace? Or if they mention a war or anything in the headline, sure. I said, are you for world peace? Yes. Oh, then you'd probably like to sign the World Peace Treaty. Here it is. Mm-hmm. I tell them, you don't have to sign it in the matter state. It's really between you and your soul. And just let it go. And that paper will do its work with somebody somewhere.
Lovely. Yeah.
Very good. So,
and like you said, it struck me when you said, if they don't know what their soul is, then perhaps reading the paper will spark them to consider that. And I hadn't really thought of it that way before, but yeah, it could actually do that to someone, that it's so profound that when they read it, this whole idea of you actually laying down arms and making sure that you are, agreeing to your own soul to do that, not to any authorities, not to governments, not to any world power or anything. It's you, your power, your soul. So yeah, that's very good.
So that's just an active testimonial that anyone that wants to be involved, or if you want world peace, you're not in the Kesh Foundation fund, pass it on, sign it, and this is the alternative, and this is the agenda now.
Yeah, I'll just show that the website here temporarily so we can have a look at that while we're discussing it.
My copier broke or something went wrong. So I just went to the UPS store, went on the website, she did, and just printed out 100 copies. And they're like little spheres or something. They're doing much more than what it appears. And the statements are rather simple, but yet so profound. So there's a work that's being done there.
Okay, it went to a different page here. When I clicked on the World Peace Treaty at the bottom, then it shows it in full text here, and it's better for printing. So this is the actual PDF. I'll put that into the chat here as well. I'll just read it just for posterity, as they call it. We/I, as citizens of the earth from this moment on, accept to lay down all tools of aggression and war. We/I shall never think about getting involved or incite war or develop or use any tools of war on this planet or in space. And to this, we/I all agree and swear with our/my, delete as appropriate, nation, territory, council, religion, city, town, body or bodies, and soul or souls. And there's a space for name, signature, date, position, and on behalf of nation, territory, council, religion, city, town, or individual. And a place for a witness. And it says, after signing this treaty, be proud to display this certificate wherever you consider being important to you, that everyone can see and know your ethos to fellow men and the mankind and other created beauties of Creator. Well, thank you for that reminder and testimonial there, Mark. It's a good idea. Good idea to have some already printed out, ready to go kind of thing. Keep them in your car, and to the appropriate person, you can hand one out. Thinking maybe in a cafe, you could be sitting at a table with them kind of just spread out, and maybe even you'd be able to leave some there as leaflets.
Sure. So many possibilities. I mean, especially on any sort of promotions of peace or anything like that. That will elevate them to a higher level. In other words, I wasn't for one planet, one nation, but Mr. Ketchen, the ideas as you ponder it, it is a higher level than having sovereign nation states and they're cooperating and collaborating. So when you think of the planet as the spaceship and all this, it makes much more sense, and this is the way it works, that you have one nation, one planet. And of course, it's promoted as a one world agenda, which probably they'd like that too, to severely cull the herd, say, so to speak.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of negative connotations to the one world. We went through a couple of decades of this idea of one world trade, and they wanted to make everything the World Trade Organization and so on. And now we see more of a fracturing response to some of that, some of those actions.
Their idea is to continue the abuse of the man, of mankind, in one world order, where Mr. Tesh is elevating it in the Tesh Foundation and so on. Yeah, so it'll always be sort of a bit of a battle there between those that are liberating themselves and those that want to control the population and so on. But I think the side that's liberating themselves is beginning to win, let's say, or has the established a certain minimum, what do they call it, the a minimum where it's going to continue the avalanche effect. Right, and as you continue to think of the planet, the sphere, as a moving object, as a spaceship, Mr. Kesha, have our own spaceship already, and you've had, 5,000 wars in the past 3,000 years. I mean, it's really a freaky event in the universe. It's a big anomaly. It doesn't get to join. So this is the turning point. This is the world peace, and this is the borders are going to disappear, and so on. So it's all intertwined, as with the teaching of the soul. So I just thought I'd add that, because that is the, how did they say it in Star Wars? Not that I've ever seen one movie, but the prime directive, or one of them, and then go into space.
I think the prime directive was in Star Trek. Don't interfere with other civilizations and don't harm others, basically, is the prime thing there. And then they can start communications.
Right. I was thinking along the lines of the mission that Mr. Kesh accepted to undertake when he decided to undertake.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. What else do we have in store today? Thank you, Mark. That was great. Anyone else have something to present? I've got a picture I can show here.
Edor and McNabb.
Sorry about that. Okay, I've got a testimonial here that came to the attention of the Testimonials website. Let me get it up here. Just a second.
And we also have Joseph waiting to present when ready.
Oh, okay. Well, this will just take a minute, so let me just whip through.
Edor and McNabb.
Where is it here? Just a second here. There we go. Okay, this is from the actual Testimonials website. It's the latest testimonial. It's titled Plasma Unit Eliminates Pain. And you see the testimonial here. I'll read it, but I wanted to show the picture that goes along with it, so I have to show that separately. So let me do that first here. Just a second. Okay, you should be able to see that now. Just arrange it on the live stream better. And I'll read the testimonial. It goes like this. Plasma unit eliminates pain. And it's the testimony of a person, a 60-year-old, who insisted on, it says, on buying me the Romanian unit after a first test of 8 minutes. Following a motorcycle accident, this person was injured at the spine level and underwent an operation, leaving him 3 scars of about 10 centimeters. The pain was almost permanent, and he couldn't sit normally on a chair, nor sleep flat on his back. Nothing but the friction of his shirt made him wince with pain. He used the unit for 3 to 4 sessions of 15 minutes per day. In less than a week, all the pain had disappeared. This was after almost 2 years of suffering because he refused all medication. Thank you, Mr. Kesh. And that was a post in the Facebook, and you can get the link to that in the Kesh Foundation Testimonials under the Plasma Unit Eliminates Pain, which is the last testimonial you'll see there. And that's the main one from the testimonials. So apparently this is the unit, and if you look at it, it's got a pumping system that pumps the GANS fluid through the system. And it's got the loops, as we were talking about earlier with Lawrence, about the loops of the Magrav being perpendicular to each other. And also, if you look inside the clear tubing, you'll see a twisted nano-coated copper kind of I'm not sure how it was made exactly. It looks like from a strip of nano-coated copper that was twisted, but put in there, and that'll produce a spiraling action to the GANS as it flows through. And we see a jar of what appears to be the CH3 GANS in the center there. I don't know much else about this unit. Maybe someone else could talk more about it if they like.
You are present 1 year ago with Angelo Dau from Bragadino, from Bran, from Romania, when it's a meeting of the group, and presentation in so much a lot of system. Is this system and in in 4th month of 1 year ago. You have in testimonial, also in testimonial, and in knowledge seekers, if you allow 1 minute, I research in what workshop is the occasion. You are present device of Romanian team.
Okay.
I research for saying what number of knowledge seekers.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Okay, well, that's a good example of yet another case of positive results from a setup, a device that appears to be working. I understand Joseph is ready to present, so perhaps we can go to that if there's no further questions about this. Okay, Joseph, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, hello, I'm Joseph from Austria, and I tried to make magnesium GANs in a saltwater condition. That has not worked, so I went over to just inform the CO2 GANs with the information of magnesium. And I tried this setup, you can see it. Here you have reactive grade magnesium plates and CO2 GANs. I showed this in the German testimonials, and then I got some informations that we should not use this reactive grade magnesium or magnesium metal to inform the CO2 GANs. We should use magnesium citrate. That's a powder that may be added to the CO2 GANs. This comes from the medical section where I'm not part of, and I have to try it. But at this experiment, it happened something very exciting. I had this reactive grade magnesium for some days in there, and I suggested that it will dissolve somehow. And I show you the video. Here you can see at the top is a little bit of CO2 GANs already elevated. It went up there because there is a little bubble of air. And the process behind is that the CO2 shares the oxygen fields with the magnesium. And let us see what happens when I open the jar a little bit so it's connected to the air.
Are you sure the video isn't in reverse? Wow, that was pretty impressive.
I think, or my knowledge at the moment is that the CO2 is sharing the oxygen, and then it's missing. And so if you open the jar, then it's connected to the air again, and then every CO2 is going to the air to grab new oxygen. But at the moment it's useless, but it's a nice effect. And if you have it in that state and you are shaking it for minutes hard, then every CO2 settles down to the bottom again. And then you have to leave it for some time. And then if you open the jar, then it starts again to elevate.
Really? So this is a positive seal in the jar. Is it like a cork or a screw top or?
It's a screw top.
Okay, and you say you have like a little bubble at the top, maybe a centimeter or something?
Yes, you can see it a little bit. It's the beginning of the video.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a little air bubble. Not enough that that every CO2 can grab the oxygen, and the little bit of CO2 that's already at the top has grabbed all the oxygen in the bubble. And if you open the jar, I can't play the music and the sound because I had music on while I was making this video, and I haven't got the license for it.
Right, thank you.
But it's a little plop if you open the screw.
Oh, you do hear a sound like it's under pressure maybe or something.
Yes, it's under pressure.
So it's creating some gas while it's, is it 2 strips of zinc in there? Is that what we see?
That's reactive grade magnesium, 99.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. So they're both 99.9 or whatever % magnesium.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I see. And do they touch each other, the two strips?
They may touch each other. It works also with one strip alone.
Okay. So, well, it's understandable that under pressure, the gas bubbles are smaller. So if they are in with the if it's in with the GANs, then and you release the pressure, the bubbles get bigger and make the GANs go up to the top. And I've seen sometimes the GANs goes up to the top, then the bubble bursts, and then the GANs goes back to the bottom. But I've never seen such with the whole thing lifting up like that. That's terrific. Wow.
But it needs time. I have laid it down 90 degrees, so the GANs was covering the magnesium plate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I let it for some days, and then I just opened it, and then everything went up. And then I shaked it well, then everything went down again. And I could start the process again with opening, and then it was elevating again. And you can make it all the time. But I have no use for it. It's only nice to see, but
Well, think about it. You've created elevation. You've created a levitating GANs in a way. You can control the GANs by the pressure in the vessel, is what's quite interesting, actually. And if you could increase the pressure, the GANs would go down. If you decrease the pressure, the GANs goes up. So in a way, you have a barometer of pressure, or a gauge, or there's probably a way to obtain energy from it, because you're elevating something that normally goes down with gravity. So if there was a way to take advantage of that on a massive scale, it's an interesting idea.
yes, maybe we can make a generator out of it, but I only wanted to inform the CO2 GANs with magnesium, because in a saltwater condition it was impossible for me to get a GANs, because the plates are dissolving and are getting with the salt in a chemical compound. It's not a GANs.
Mm.
And so I searched for a way to get the magnesium information into the GANs. And now I know I use magnesium citrate. It's a powder, and I give it into the CO2 GANs. And then I can use it for plants and other things.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if you get a similar reaction with the magnesium citrate, and maybe it'll do the same thing inside the sealed jar.
Yes, we may try it out.
Okay, well, it'd be great if you could, and present that in the next testimonials, possibly.
If I have time, I will do it. And then I have built star formation, the cheapest I could make, but I don't know if it's for the testimonials now to show it, or for the reactor group on Wednesdays, because it's a reactor.
And you wanted to show what specifically? Is it a...
It is this. And the whole unit is about 150 euros. as a whole, everything in there. There are 4 potentiometers, resistors that you can adjust with 10 turns. You see it with 1, 2, 3 and top. And I used this orange thing is PVCU. It's
a plumbing part, perhaps, or
I don't know the name in English, but it's a pipe and 2 end caps. And there are, let me comment on it. So here you have the first motor, here the second, and here the third motor. There are cheap China motors. You can see the motor here with cost of $2.50. And I have only made holes into the end cap, and then I could put it in with some pressure. They are fitting perfectly in. They have the motors have a ring, and in my case the ring was 6 millimeters. I used the 6 millimeter drill, yes. And then I could press them in there. And what I made is in this end cap goes there into this pipe, and I filled it up with gips. So the motors can't vibrate that much.
You filled it with what? What again?
In German, it's called gips. It's a white powder. If you give water to it, then it hardens out. It's
okay. Yeah, what do you call it?
It's a calcium sulfur.
Yes, it's for those with broken arms, to immobilize them, to make them
a plaster. Plaster.
Yeah. Because it's very cheap, and I filled this cap up so the motors can't move. Because if they vibrate, then you get weaker fields. The only thing at the moment, I couldn't make the connection from the shaft to the bore, because I used this syringe parts. But it's not working good. So I have to find someone with a machine that can make me these parts at the moment. There I stuck. I couldn't test it at the moment, but everything is working properly, and it's very cheap. I use this glass for protection purposes. If a ball gets lost and with 2,000 or 3,000 RPM flies away, then I have a barrier.
Yeah, nice.
So nobody gets hurt, and it's really cheap and easy to make.
And where'd you get your variable resistors that work with those motors? Because they're kind of hard to find.
They are from the company Burns from Mexico.
An electronics shop, or?
Yes, from the electronic shop, and they have 10 turns. So you can adjust it very good.
Yeah. That's often a problem with the fancier controls, is to try to control the low RPM. There's almost no control of the low RPM, which is actually kind of important. So with this, there would be an additional control.
Yes,
The
and
problem,
you have it from 0 to where the voltage goes. With that motor's maximum is 12,000 RPM.
right? I was going to guess around 10,000. So yeah, it's just the problem with these little motors is if there's any vibration in the system that can take out the motors relatively quickly, and the balance will be important. And to not use a big ball, just a smaller sort of unit will be appropriate, I guess.
Yes, for the reason I filled it up, but just there with the mass, with the gips, I call it, with the plaster.
Yeah, that'll help a lot with the vibration and so on. Yeah.
And you may fill the whole thing up with the plaster. Then you have a great mass, and the motors, they are very, very tiny.
Mm-hmm.
So there are nearly no vibrations in there.
And also the that plaster, when you think about it, it might show some interesting effects as the calcium. This could be like a calcium reactor in a way. It might be especially helpful for processing bone problems or breaks in a broken arm or some other bone break. Perhaps it'll put out the fields of calcium that are needed for
Maybe,
facilitating repair.
But it's heavily gravitational. I found
Well,
out
that's what the bones are. They're the gravitational basis of our body systems. You know, when you think about it, it's at the core, gravitational. It's the matter level or nano material that's created at the core.
I have made experiments with the plaster. I used polycarbonate balls, the balls that are that many of us are using for reactor balls, and filled them up with the plaster, and with the one half of it I filled with GANs, and the other half I filled with GANs water, both of CO2 GANs. And I played around, and it felt heavily gravitational. But I used it just because it's cheap and it's easy to handle. And sorry, I couldn't test it at the moment, but I want to show it because it's a very cheap unit. The motors you can get for $2.50, and the plaster is cheap. The resistors are very expensive because they cost $15 one. And the other things, this is a wooden plate. Then I used some, how shall I call it? It's it's pressed to the glass that if the top motor vibrates, I used this wooden plate for a greater mass, that the vibrations are not that big. And then it's here with saved to the glass, so it can't nearly vibrate. And here I used polycarbonate sticks, but I could also use wooden sticks for the distance. And that's all. For a maximum $150, everything.
Okay, any questions for Joseph on his device? Comments?
Yes, it looks really nice there, Joseph. You just need what again to make it work?
I haven't understood. Please repeat.
You said you're missing a part yet to make it work?
Yes, it's the coupling part from the motor shaft to the bar.
Oh, okay.
Because I tried it, I made 5 or 6 reactors of this kind. This is the first one with a complete star formation in a bigger pipe. And I have some little pipes with only one motor, and they're working perfectly, but I have problems with these syringe couplings. I cut a syringe and I pressed it at the shaft side. So they were fitting because the syringe was a little bit too wide. And if they are running for 1, 2, 3 days, then they are getting they're not round anymore, and they make much vibrations. So I have to make some parts for it, but I can't afford the machines at the moment for it. And so I have to search for somebody or a company that is making these things for me. And then we can, then I will make a little series, 10 or 20 pieces. And with some testing, if they are good enough, then I may sell it maybe. But it's a way to there.
Okay, yeah.
How much space is inside there? What is the width inside the glass in millimeters?
I think approximately 110 or 120 millimeters. 12 centimeter.
Might have something for you here. What about this?
This is too wide. I have
40 millimeter ball, and then that's something that's machined for that, but I don't know about the opening.
It's machined for the yeah, I'm not sure if there is an opening on that. It's made to go inside the 10 millimeter hole of the holder for it.
Oh yeah, of one of these.
Yeah. That's the setup right there, actually. So that's.
Sorry. I can't measure at the moment, but my shafts from the cheap China motors, they have approximately 1.2 millimeters.
Yeah, much smaller.
And that's the problem. So I have to make the parts with a drilling machine. Is it right?
Or a 3D printer.
You could also use a 3D printer. I was going to suggest that. That's right. So
that was why I also was going to suggest. Joseph, have you tried a 3D printer, or do you have a model? I can help you with creating the 3D model if you like, and you can print it somewhere.
Some knowledge seekers have already done that as well in the past, and they have. I can't remember who did it. Maybe could check with Tommy Gunn. He may have done that, or some of the other knowledge seekers in the past. Maybe you could post it in the golden age of GANs. They would have a solution probably right away. Some people have already made the 3D little cups and with different size shafts that can be adapted, so you can select the shaft size you need and then have that 3D printed. There might be someone willing and already have done that.
Eric Coleman and the students there, He was a student in 2017-18, has a 3D printer, and he's also an engineer and has the CAD software and everything.
Yes, but a turning machine would be the best.
Yeah, then you could use the metal of your choice if you wanted to, rather than, or a good polycarbonate, and machine it out with a lathe, as you say.
Or you can try just rotating the fields. That's the newest trend.
Just what? Sorry?
To rotate just the fields.
So
Yeah,
leave the motors off, you mean? And
yes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's the whole goal. We're supposed to get
If
away
possible.
from the motors eventually, anyway.
well, that makes the motors last a long time that way.
Yeah.
It's the
Yes,
best for longevity, and they're much quieter, I'll tell you that. No vibration.
I have a mini computer. It's a Banana P. And with that, I wanted to measure, because the motors will stand still and then turning the other way around. And I wanted to get the data when it's turning, what is happening, and to collect this data, so I have more knowledge about which GANs is reacting which way.
About that, I'm sorry that Angelo is not here. He has something to deal with at the moment, but he has shown us a video about his star formation with motors that when he powers it up with very small rotations, the minimal that can determine the rotation of the motors, each one starts, you can see who's the first, second, third, and fourth one, and then it's a cycle. They go again and again and again. And if he changes the content of the balls with different gases, but you don't change anything else, you see other motors starting first and second and third. It's like a different flow of the plasma. That was very interesting. Maybe if I can find the videos, but I think it's something related to what you said earlier. Sorry about that. And while I'm looking for the video, I have one question. Did you mention earlier about creating a mix with CO2 gas and magnesium for the plants?
Yes, I wanted to try magnesium citrate with pure CO2 GANs.
Mm-hmm. And have you tasted the plasma water that you have created with it?
No, at the moment not.
Okay. I have done somehow similar with calcium and magnesium that are organic from plant pharmacies, and I have mixed it with CO2 gas and make plasma water. So regular water that stood for at least 12 hours under the influence of the gas. It has a different taste. It tastes like calcium in a way, or magnesium. And I tried that with different vitamins or different teas, and you can see it's slightly different, but it is, you can tell. So I think when you can see the taste, it's the moment. I believe I haven't tried it, but I think it's the perfect moment to use it for the plants or for everything else.
Okay, thank you for that. Does anyone else have something they want to present today?
It's me again. I wanted to say that I have another experiment that I'm trying to make in parallel with that battery I have showed you before a bit earlier, and it's creating the magnetical disks. I have nano-coated disks of 80 centimeters in diameter, and just after the first nano coating, you can tell there's a slight repelling power, and I think I'm not sure, but I think there are two situations. One of them is this repelling force is or exists in all our nano-coated plates. But maybe we haven't tried this earlier to approach them, and this can increase as you force those nano layers into each other and create a larger density of nano layers and put them to nano coat like in steam of caustic over and over again for a few times with certain amounts of time between for them to have time to be more consistent. Like you let them dry for a couple of weeks and then you go again with the steam. And I think this repulsion force can be even more powerful. And one other thing that I'm thinking on is maybe these nano layers can circulate my vital energy and amplify it. And you know what, like when you approach your palms and from a certain time you can feel heat between your palms and a small repulsion force. Maybe this is applied, amplified by the nano layers, and you feel like the plates are repelling while it's just your hands. I'm not sure if somebody tried can confirm or deny. I think that would be interesting.
Anybody have a comment about that? Well, apparently not, so we'll have to leave that for next time, perhaps. Okay, do we have anything else lined up here to have a look at?
Not from my end. Anybody else?
Comments or suggestions or things you want to present from anyone of our attendees or panelists? Well, I can't think of anything else to offer right now.
No,
So
okay.
maybe we should wrap things up for today.
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead.
All righty. Well, thanks everyone for attending today's 31st public testimonial meeting. And we'll have another one I believe we will in July. Is that true? Or are we
Yes,
going to be out on this summer session by then?
No, our summer session ends at the end of July of 26. Our next one will be July 8th.
Okay, great. July 8th. We'll look forward to another session of the testimonial meeting. So prepare your testimonials for that time. It would be great. And a reminder, if you have any very interesting testimonials, like possibly that the one that was presented on with the GANs that was floating today might be a good one for the Plasma Scientific Journal. If you could document it a little better, and it could be presented in the Plasma Times as a Plasma Scientific Journal entry, that would be terrific, actually. And then others can duplicate it and try to replicate your efforts or add to them. Okay, so thanks everyone for attending today, Monday, June 10th, 2019. And we'll see you next time around, and stay tuned for the plasma reactor group. If you do have some devices or something you'd like to present, then you're welcome to attend the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group, which starts at 7 a.m. Central European Time on Wednesday, June 12th. And
yeah, tomorrow afternoon is the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for World Peace meeting, the public meeting at 4 p.m. Central European Time on this number.
Yes, that's the one I forgot in between there. So it's important to represent that as well. Okay, thanks everyone. We'll end for today. See you next time around.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate.
Plasma products found at keshefoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging plasma insoles. Bring comfort back to your feet and energize your legs. European CE certified medical device. Antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation with protective plasma formula. CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen. Emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshefoundation.org/store or find a distributor near you. Tax and shipping not included.